Good evening and welcome to the Finance Commission meeting of Thursday, December 11th, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. We are meeting in the Finance Commission meeting room in Norwood Town Hall. All members of the commission are here, and along with Deborah Liu and Jeff O'Neill. There is no one joining us online at this time. Correct, Deborah? Okay, so I guess we will start with our first order of businesses. I will accept the motion to approve the meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Did anyone have any corrections to the Finance Commission meeting minutes from Thursday, November 20th? So, discussion. All right, so hearing nothing, I will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Those minutes have been approved unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. We have two policies tonight that we would like to consider for, we would like to discuss and hopefully approve. But the first one, I think I'd rather look at the capital stabilization first, unless someone has a strong inkling to look at the capital improvement policy first. Okay. So the capital stabilization fund policy, the Board of Selectmen did approve that at their meeting at one of their last meetings. So we know that they have approved the policy as it is drafted. Mr. O'Neill gave us an excellent draft to work with. But it was presented to the school committee, and I believe there were some questions. Eric was kind enough to represent us at that meeting. So Eric, if you want to offer any information from that meeting, that would be great.
Yep. The school committee really had two comments on the policy. First was in the definition of a capital item. In the draft policy, it says it has to have a cost of at least $50,000. And they were concerned that particularly with school IT items are less than that. I did go back after the meeting and look at the capital plan for the next 5 years and identified several items, a number of items that are below $50,000, and not all school items. So for instance, like the helipad is $17,500, although you could say the whole project is more than that. But so there's some airport items that were less than that, some masonry repairs less than that. Civic Center had some air conditioning work. Some other IT work, but landscaping trailers, some certain of the vehicles for the DPW are less than $50,000, and so forth. So seems like a worthy comment. I did, looking at the policy, again, I'm not sure that we need to have that detailed definition in this particular policy, because really the operative section is lower down where we say use of the fund is limited to purchases of at least $100,000. So we could probably just, say capital refers to non-recurring expenditures, and then delete them 1, 2, and 3, for example. But
Right.
that's just one way of doing it.
Would that be something that from a municipal finance perspective, which obviously none of us are experts in municipal finance, that's your job here.
Yeah.
Is it a problem to remove something like that from
Yeah, I
this?
think when you're looking at a stabilization fund, you should have a definition of what
Okay.
makes up the items in that fund.
Okay.
We do have the usage, but again, the 50,000 is a threshold where if school IT, you get into the nitty gritty here, because again, we're looking at future. 50,000 is going to be a low number. If they're looking at just, limited items in their IT, if they're specific to that, maybe their operating budget should be able to handle some of that stuff.
But what would be
If not, they should look at consolidating and coming up with a broader plan. That's probably going to cost well over $50,000.
Okay, but part of that, I think, okay, I'm sorry, Maya, go ahead.
Oh, I don't really, reading this, it says specifically, for the purposes of this policy, and this policy is the capital stabilization fund policy. Capital refers to this. We're not going to tap the stabilization fund to pay for a $30,000 IT item.
Correct.
Just because this policy says that we define capital this way for this, does not mean that we can't fund something through our capital improvement cycle
Yeah.
out of free cash or whatever else we're doing. Like, I think that's,
Right.
you know,
Right, I
I think
agree
it's
with
fine
Maya.
as it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but I will say, based on our last discussion when Mr. Plasko and Mr. Donnelly were here, I believe that they wanted, and I spoke with Mr. Donnelly this afternoon to confirm this, they did talk about matching the definition of policy in this and in the capital improvement policy.
Right.
And it doesn't matter, it's not just school related, it's other related, and what was kind of referred to is if it's a non-recurring expense, a one-time expense, then that $50,000 threshold could be examined.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's not like we haven't approved, because he actually said the existing capital improvement policy that we have, the thresholds would actually be even higher.
Bigger.
It's a
Right.
lot bigger,
Well, and
so
that's
that's
why
the
we
discretion
tried
of
to
the
redo the
capital improvement
policies,
policy.
because there was the
Mhm.
concern that a lot of things were getting pushed to the capital budget that didn't really belong in the capital budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like an ongoing lease for tasers, I'm not opposed to. I don't think it is a capital item.
Right.
If
And
it's
these
like
are
It's your-
a lease every year, that's
Mhm.
an operating expense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do have in the fund policy, we do say 50,000 here, and then we say 100,000 there.
That's our threshold, yeah.
And
Mhm.
so it kind of, those numbers at least need to be coordinated. Because maybe up at the top, it should say 100.
Wait a minute.
because-
No, 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 no,
Say
no.
100.
This is allowable uses.
Allowable
Section 3 is
uses.
allowable uses, and we set the,
Right. So you're saying for the
Threshold.
purposes of this policy, using of the fund, it's 100,000 based on what's down here.
I
Right.
don't
You not
have
have that
that in
draft?
this draft.
Wait a minute.
All right, do I have a different draft?
Yeah, there may be a different draft. I don't have, I mean, I know we
we
put that
switched
in
it
there,
to
but I don't have it
100,000
either.
last time. It was in here.
Oh, okay, so what I have in the packet that I
this is
just opened
11/20.
is from November 18th.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was the 11/21.
Oh.
Jeff emailed
Okay.
us all the new draft on 11/21, and that did say $100,000.
Okay.
Because
I was
that's
just
the,
assuming that what I was
that's the
seeing
threshold
that was the
we
amendment that we
voted on.
made, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the amendment that we made.
Okay, so this is no good.
Correct, he emailed us one
Okay.
with the
Yeah.
correct numbers on it.
So perhaps something needs to happen about that definition, because within the policy, it's a little inconsistent, and between the policies.
No, it's not inconsistent in the policy, I don't think.
Well, I'm just saying, if this fund is only to fund things over 100,000, then we should say 100,000 up there.
No, because the
No,
definition of
no.
capital.
No,
it's not
that's the definition of
policy.
capital.
So we need to make the other policy match the 50,000, which.
Okay.
I
Or
believe
maybe
is
we
what
should
the
just-
Board of Selectmen agreed to.
This policy should refer to that policy, say definition is over here, and this one's only for 100,000. I'm just, but I guess that brings me to the second point that the school committee brought up, and that was that they thought that the three boards should be discussing the financial policies jointly, as opposed to individually.
Have you tried to get the three boards together? Sorry. Sorry.
And perhaps it's representatives of the three boards getting together and, you know.
I hear that concern, but I think it's a little bit if we're gonna do a full review of all our major policies, then I think that's coming and something that should likely happen. I mean, this is just my opinion, not obviously not of the board. Like, we did it last time, what was it, 2018 when it was done last?
I think so. It was
It was a
pre-pandemic,
Saturday,
definitely.
yeah, it was a Saturday that all three boards got together down in the community room, I think.
Yes.
And really plowed through the policies. So I like the idea of representatives as opposed to, but one, this was a policy that we would like to get completed by the end of the year. I've spoken with Ms. Stewart and tried to explain, and I've spoken with Mr. Chair Hiltz as well. So I think they have an understanding of the policy. I don't know, what are other people's thoughts on getting all three boards together to discuss these policies?
I think that, like, I understand the idea of representatives of the board, but honestly, 2.5 years ago, the Capital Outlay Committee got together and talked about the capital outlay policy, and that included representatives of all three major boards. That committee agreed to a policy update, and then the other boards didn't take action on it. Still, the Board of Selectmen still hasn't I don't know, maybe, did they actually vote it down? Or are they just proposing all changes?
This is their changed policy that
Right.
we're gonna review.
And
next.
so, like, I don't know what the way is to work on this.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
You may not like it, but I think the proper way to do it would be to request through Tony's office a rewriting of, or review of the financial policies. Myself and Tony will take a look at them, rewrite what we think, because again, these policies technically should come from the executive office, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
And then the drafts go out for reviews. If you want all three, that's up to you, you know, how you want to move forward with that. But I think a request should be made to look at, to review, because again, I have some suggestions on some of the other policies as well. We can do that, work with Tony, then we can get the drafts out to everybody. And then if you're trying to do a tri-board meeting, or if you want representatives, you know, that could be the next step.
I don't think that's a bad option.
No.
What do people think of that?
That's fine.
Seems like a way.
That
seems like
wasn't a
starting
very
point.
enthusiastic,
No,
that's fine.
you
Do
know,
you have an
I-
objection?
No, I don't have an objection. I think that's what Jeff said is very reasonable. I just, as Maya have noted, you know, the recent history of trying to get, you know, boards together for approval of policies hasn't been very positive, so I just,
But if it comes out of the general manager and the director of finance office with recommendations, then it's a lot easier perhaps to at least get representatives together, and then each representative could bring it back to their
well,
board.
as I said, I think, you know, I
Get
think.
the right representatives
You know,
at the table.
as I said, I don't think it's I think what Jeff said is a good idea. I'm just concerned that, you know, given history, that things may not move quickly. And we're gonna have $2 million sitting in a fund and not being able to use it because we don't have a policy yet.
Well, I would say that this policy has come through the way that he's suggesting, because,
Yeah, and the Board of Selectmen have it.
and the Board of
recommended it,
Selectmen have
so.
already approved this one, so as
That's a
far
we.
as.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, well, I think we could take a formal vote with the $100,000 change tonight, right? Just to make sure that
Just
it's
to make
on
sure we're
record.
using this draft, yeah.
So I would say, if we approve this, we can send it back to the school committee next week, and we can, I'll go to the meeting if you want to attend with me.
Yeah, probably can
since,
both go.
We could both go to the meeting and try to answer concerns.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, I can reach out to the chair as well, so.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sounds like-
I think that makes
That's
sense.
fine, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Because I would like to get this one completed because of the timing issue,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
that it's correct. And
And-
then the other ones we can talk about. I think
Right.
that's not a bad idea.
Well, and we, you know, this can be, all of our financial policies can be living documents. So,
Right.
like, we can approve this as is, or with our, you know, the small change.
Mhm.
And then if in the spring we're having a review of all the policies and we realize we want to make another revision to it, that's allowed. It's
Yep.
not like it's,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
we're stuck with it for years.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
Yeah, again, and as Eric pointed out, I mean, one of the objections was that some of the school projects are below this threshold. Well, again, I think as Eric noted, some of the general government projects are underneath that threshold also.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
And-
it wasn't directed at anyone, you know, at anyone's source.
and also as the chair of the capital outlay committee, when I spoke with him this afternoon, it was, you know, we do take into consideration other pieces of it. So, as Mr. O'Neill said, 50,000 is going to become a lower and lower threshold. And as Maeva said, you know, maybe we do need to really seriously consider getting some of this stuff into the operating budgets. You know,
Mhm.
but like floor tiling and stuff like that doesn't need to go into an operating budget, and it may not be that much, but we can group it together into a larger project, so.
If you're spending the same amount of money every year to do the same type of work, you might as well just put it in the budget because it's effectively the same thing.
Yeah.
So, particularly if you're not borrowing for
But
it.
it's the first thing that gets cut out of the budget every year, so
Aye.
it's a vicious circle. that you
Yeah.
get
It is a
yourself
vicious
into.
circle, but,
Because
you
it's
know.
not needed, so, okay, we'll put it on the capital plan for a future year. That's the problem, you're gonna run into that.
I mean, some of it is also, it's kind of a semantics thing because we say like, well, what makes it capital at town meeting is that it went through the capital outlay committee to get there. But if we're we can also have articles that are just voting free cash for something, right?
Mhm.
That's, doesn't necessarily have to be, meet some definition of capital, so. Kind of a
Yeah,
semantics.
your definition right now is exceed 1/2 of non-utility revenue.
Right,
That's a big number.
it's a very big number.
And we have definitely approved many things under that
Nothing-
very big
nothing on
number
that.
plan.
Very few things on that capital plan meet that.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so it's a policy, a structure by which, and there are exceptions to every rule apparently. So, all right, I will entertain a motion regarding the capital stabilization policy from our perspective. I mean, I think there's concerns that we've heard, but I think
So are we going with 100,000?
that's what we voted for last meeting.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we approve the capital stabilization fund policy, the version dated 11/20/2025.
Second.
and just to clarify, that's the same version that the Board of Selectmen just voted to approve.
Yes, that was the draft that Mr. O'Neill sent to us the Friday after our
Yeah.
last meeting with, from, if in our minutes, if it noted
Yes.
the $100,000 change.
Yes,
Because I
yes.
think you motioned it and Alan seconded it.
Right.
Right, okay, so, anyways, that's where we are.
Okay, great.
Is there anything else for discussion? Hearing nothing, I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Thank you. Can you write down as an action item a letter to the general manager's office? Okay, thank you very much. Is everyone good with that, to send a request to the
Yes.
general
Yep.
for review of financial policies?
Yep.
And let me know when that school committee meeting is, and I will,
It's Wednesday, the 19th, is that?
Seventeenth.
17th, Wednesday, the 17th.
okay.
If you can't go, I can.
No, I'll make,
attend this one. So.
yep. Continuity.
Okay, so that brings us to the draft capital improvement planning project for the Board of Selectmen on October 20th, 2025. Mr. Donnelly had sent us an email, I believe I forwarded it to you all after the last meeting. I apologize for the lateness of that. He explained some of the changes in it. I am wondering if this is one of, well, first of all, does anybody else have any comments? Mayav, I know you were pretty involved in the drafting of the original policy of September 2024, so I just would like,
Well,
does
it's-
anyone have any comments? on
The
this?
last version that this committee approved was 2023,
Okay,
right? And then I think the school committee approved in 2024. So, but I will say that what I recall of the capital outlays committee's discussion around this was a desire to make sure that, to talk about what really belonged on the capital outlay. And then also to talk about what should be the criteria for how do we prioritize this, and sort of, and in that ways, I think it was to help clarify the role of the capital outlay committee. Like, you know, what is the capital outlay committee actually, how are they supposed to evaluate the projects that are brought before them? So, I'm pleased that those criteria are still in there. I don't know if there were any that were edited, but at least there is definitely a criteria.
Yeah.
But I also will say that, given that we've just discussed the idea of asking the administration to review our policies, perhaps it's time to just stop this and wait and see what happens with that review, and then have one comprehensive discussion rather than going at this piecemeal.
That makes sense to me.
Well, it makes sense to me as well, because I noticed as I was reviewing it, one, the definition of capital doesn't match, it doesn't reference any mass general law, which I'm assuming it might need to as well from a procedural standpoint, so.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the draft from October 20th, 2025, and the policy, to properly manage the town's capital needs, approximately 5% of the annual non-utility revenue shall be reserved for such needs. That can't be in there.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so yeah, we should take a look at this and rewrite.
Okay.
All right, so we'll hold off until Jeff and Tony set something out. Okay.
Do we need to make a formal request that that happen?
Are you comfortable if I request just a review of all policies, including the capital review policy, and I'll copy the selectmen on it?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, or discussion, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Okay,
1 second.
yep.
Can we, when you're doing this, can you not use 100,000 words when you can do it in 10? Please. It just seems that these things grow, and it isn't necessary to have all of the things in there that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be formal enough.
Yes,
Again,
I
this is,
understand that.
The S&P, the rating agencies look at your financial policy.
Yes,
so
I totally
I don't want
understand
to write it
that.
with chicken scratch and, skip it every other word. So,
No.
yeah, we'll try to make
But-
it concise and.
Concise, neat, easy, people can understand it.
I actually think the stabilization policy wasn't too bad,
Yeah.
so I thought
No.
that was pretty clear. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a great.
I'm just-
that's what
I'm
was
just-
generated out of his office.
You know, if I didn't say something,
I know.
Yeah.
2 or 3
Thank you.
pages sounds like a decent length.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. All right, thank you. Then moving along, I put on for the discussion of tonight, just when the capital stabilization policy was approved at the Board of Selectmen meetings, Selectman Plasko and Selectman Donnelly both reiterated the desire to have reserves and stabilization accounts evaluated at the spring town meeting as opposed to at the fall town meeting, and that it was important to take it all into consideration at that time. So I guess my concern, and I don't know how to go about doing this, is, when is that conversation going to happen? Because from January to April, it is operating budget all of the time. And I feel as if when we're looking at I feel like this has to happen. This is just my opinion, and I was looking for feedback from the board and from Jeff. We have a free cash number. We're going to use quite a bit of it, possibly for operating budget. I would assume some of the stabilization and reserves will also come from free cash. So when is that conversation going to happen, and who should be participating in it? Because I think it should be, in my opinion, a more coordinated effort, so that when things are asked to be put on the warrant, everybody is at least aware of why it's there. And we might have to put a lot of placeholders on the warrant if we're not having that discussion early enough.
Yeah, I mean, is the issue, when to use reserves or when to put money into reserves?
Either
When
way.
when to put money into reserves, I think, is that was the issue. People had an issue with putting money into reserves and stabilization at the fall town meeting. I don't necessarily agree that all has to be in the spring. I understand the reason why, but we get a free cash number certified in the fall. We're using quite a bit of it a lot of free cash is utilized in the fall. So I understand why, but it would make more sense if we also evaluated capital in the spring then. But I also
Right.
understand why we don't want to evaluate capital in the spring. So it's kind of,
Right, I mean,
that's where I struggle,
Yeah,
because
I mean, I get the preference. I mean, preferences are fine, but I would have an issue with a hard and fast rule that you can only take from reserves or add to reserves at a particular town meeting. I think that there's limits on flexibility.
but if they would prefer to do it in the spring, when should those discussions happen? At BBC, between boards? Where does that start to be generated? This is more a question. I want to try to make sure that we're doing it so that we don't end up in the same place we ended up this fall.
Again, I'm just not sure where this is headed. I mean, is the issue that maybe we shouldn't do capital in the fall? You know,
I'm just
if
asking.
if you take it to the, you know, to that extreme.
I think what you're getting at is you go to the spring and they say, this is not the time we should do it in the fall, and you go to the fall and they say, this is not the time we should do it in the spring, and it never happens.
Well, it's gonna be
Yeah,
a
so-
round
so
robin.
that's
Yeah,
It's
exactly-
gonna
that's
be a round
so-
robin.
That's
So
it,
That
that's
might be the plan.
That's, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I mean.
No,
I like the idea, I like flexibility, okay? I mean, I could see a preference for adding money to capital in the spring, you know, once you know exactly, well, you know, how much free cash you have and how much flexibility you have to do that and what you're gonna add to reserves. However, I would have an issue with only being able to use reserves at a particular
I
time.
don't think
You
it
want
wasn't about
maximum
use. It wasn't
flexibility.
about use,
Yeah, it's
Alan.
about putting
It was
it
about-
in, yeah.
All right, okay.
I'm just saying, when in the spring should we have the discussion to make sure we get it on the town meeting warrant?
Well-
That's my question.
I'm gonna kind of push back on this idea that we should be waiting till the spring to put money into reserves. Because I feel like the reason, maybe one of the arguments for that, I'm not gonna put words in anybody's mouth, but I could imagine that the argument is, let's wait until we're sure we've funded the operating budget, and then we can use whatever's left and put it in reserves. But in the past 2 years, we have had really large amounts of free cash, and I think it was appropriate to say this is such a large number that we should just set some aside before we do anything else. We know this is unusual. We know this is a windfall. Let's pay this forward to ourselves because we know there's going to be a time in advance when we need it. I don't think that was you're never going to convince me that was a bad idea.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out when we should, it's just something to think about. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time in the meeting on it, but, I mean, there has been a discussion to consider putting money into the pension reserve rather than the OPEB reserve. So I'm looking at our long-term agenda, and when should we start discussing that? January or February? That's kind of when I feel we have some challenges right now. So January may not be that time, but
Can I just
go ahead.
share my thoughts?
Sure.
So I think, you know, that a lot of people are talking about trying to move capital into the spring. The reason capital is in the fall, it's really for planning purposes. It's an extension of our prior year's budget per se, because it's using free cash that was generated in the prior year. But it also allows us on a number of these projects to go out in the wintertime or prior to the new year starting, where a lot of people are looking to set their construction and their bidding schedules. So you're getting an advantage there. And I can give you an example of, in Medway, we're doing a big project. We just had, the town manager reported, they had 10 construction companies show up to the project. Last year, they had 3 or 4.
And also,
So it's an ideal timing for that,
Yeah.
but it's also, if the market's slowing a little bit,
yeah.
if they're looking at their schedule for '26, they're gonna come out and say, okay, we're gonna bid on that, so you're gonna get more bidders.
Yeah, it also gives the schools flexibility that, you know, you can go out and design and bid their project so they can do the work in the summer, you know, when the kids are not in school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you get to use the entire construction season. If you're not
Yeah,
approving
exactly.
things till the May town meeting,
You're gonna have to
you're
wait.
losing part of that,
You're
so.
probably gonna lose a year, because
Yeah.
people are getting full, you're gonna get the high prices.
Right, or the bidding
And they're not
process
built,
takes you
yeah.
to the fall, and at that point, yeah.
I don't disagree with you on the
And
capital.
then, but just as far as reserves, I do think the spring is the right time. I think, again, the operating budget is the priority. We have to figure out what that is. And we're making a lot of comments about reserves, but we haven't figured out, okay, which reserves are we talking about? Why do we want to fund reserves? What are we looking to do? That free cash is not going to be spent from when it's certified from fall town meeting until annual town meeting. So it's sitting there. Is it now, hey, we have all that free cash and we're going to use it in the budget? No, absolutely not. We're going to look at the budget and make it as reasonable as possible, and that's what's going to be presented to you, is a level services. You know, obviously, the fire staffing is a little different issue that's outside of the budget, but what we're presenting is a level services budget. But yeah, it's probably going to have to use some free cash because our revenues are not growing as much. But that money's not going anywhere. So again, I think the key here is, I think everybody's got to figure out what reserves do we want to target. Obviously, I'll always, you know, say the pension, because we're at 76%. It's been stagnant. At some point, the rating agency is going to say, are you addressing that? And God forbid we have a market downturn that goes, you know, below 70%. OPEB, we have the policy, after our pension's funded, that's going to OPEB. So we can keep putting some money in every year. That's a great to do that. But we have a policy, so I don't think you have to look at that.
But we
I
talked
just
about
got
the
the report.
healthcare, maybe shifting the health
Right.
anything left over in the health insurance.
Yeah,
to
that's the
pension
policy, so
purposes.
that's, yeah.
Right now it's
yeah,
going to
exactly,
OPEB,
so we
but-
can look
Yeah.
at that,
Right.
see what that is each year.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean-
definitely a spring issue.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of when we should initiate discussion, would, the same principle as you're looking to use on the financial policies, maybe something should come out of the general manager's office to all the three boards saying, this is what we like to do and this is when we'd like to do it. You think that makes sense?
Got a very nice document here that I sent to Tony for review, so yes, that will
Okay.
come out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I just think
if
it's
we
the
had gotten that guidance in
communication.
the past,
Yeah. It's
like 5
communication.
years, then that would have been very helpful.
Yeah.
Yep,
No, it just makes sense, because again, you gotta figure out, I said the operating budget is the key. And I think we've all heard the message, everybody, we continue to hear it. It's not just tax and spend, we are looking at every line item in the budget. I know the schools are doing a lot of work on that as well. So I think what the initial, and again, the initial presentation of a number, which, was not my preference to get that out, is, it's not even close to what that was. So, we've put everybody into kind of a panic without letting us do the job first. So we'll get that out and then we can see where we go. But the spring is the time where I think you do the reserves as well. As far as taking it out, that could be anything, because again, we may have a capital need and we can take it out of there, or if there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I would just hate to have something that is just ironclad. You can only do this, at a particular time.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
you want to
it's
do,
a guide,
you
it's a
certainly want to
recommendation, but it
build
should be
something in
okay.
with flexibility.
Yeah. And again, somebody can always.
There's a preference, always. There's always, is a goal, our preference is to do this at a particular point, but if you have a certain set of circumstances, you get, which you probably won't for a long time, huge amounts of free cash, put something away in savings, in the fall. I don't think that's in violation of any kind of, anything from local services or whatever.
Yeah, but again, I'll just reiterate that, once it goes into there in these stabilization funds, we lose that revenue on the general fund.
Yep.
Yep.
So, it is-
Understood.
again, interest rates were just cut again, so we're not making as much, but, that is revenue that's being taken out of the
Yeah.
general fund.
Yeah. Okay.
okay. All right, thanks for that, guys. Review of other financial policies. I think we talked about that, so we can skip over that unless anybody feels the need to do more. Okay. Liaisons with other committees. Eric, on community preservation, is there anything to report?
Nothing to report. I know they're going to start their public hearings, and then they'll be presenting their recommendations on the end of February to us.
Okay. Budget balancing, there's nothing, right? You'll meet in
No.
January is the
Yeah.
plan.
No date set as far as I know. No.
That I know of, no.
Capital outlay. That's quiet right now. And schools, right?
They're working on their budget. They're going to make a presentation to the school committee next week. I mean, they're well aware of the issues facing us, and I think they will come up with a budget that I think we can agree with.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other committees? No? All right. I just wanted to put this on here. There,
Early, right? For the schools.
I think
Again,
it's
this
a budget,
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Again, this is just the
Very
first cut.
preliminary. And then I believe, did everyone receive the fire department study? It's in the folder, so that's available. I reached out to Mr. Mizuko this morning to ask if he would be willing to come to a meeting to present it, and he said he would in January, so I'll run that January date by him. In addition, they are going to be, sorry, I forgot. They are going to do a workshop with the board in January. I'm assuming that's the Board of Selectmen, but I'm not 100% sure. But he said he was doing a workshop with the board in January, and he thought it might be a good time for us to also come to that. So I'll keep you updated as I learn about any
The workshop related to the
yeah,
fire
to the
department study?
to do the fire department study.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be helpful for him to come to our meeting, and especially if the auditors might not be here in January, that might be a good time
Yeah.
to do that and get a feel for that. So,
Yeah, I mean, in watching the meeting with the selectmen, I mean, there were, issues about A, are we going to accept all the recommendations, and B, if we do, how are we going to finance them? So,
Yes, I didn't get to see that portion of the meeting, so. Did they have any discussions along the way about how to finance or no?
I mean, they looked at different options. I mean, an override is one option, use of free cash is another option. But there was no real, long debate or discussion. I think that's something that's going to come
So that's
up,
probably the workshop that
in
he's
the
talking
workshop,
about in
yeah.
January. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okey doke. So, on the next item would be the long-term agenda. First and foremost, because a couple of people have conflicts with January 15th, can we tentatively, or I would like to set the meeting for January 22nd, if that works for people.
That would work for me.
Okay, so if we could change the next date, and hopefully that's not the night of the fire department, the workshop, so let's try to get that on the calendar as soon as possible.
I had the
So-
impression that they were going to try to set up a workshop relatively soon.
Okay, all right,
I mean, no exact date, but
okay. So then it's unlikely, we're still waiting for the audit, so it's unlikely that the auditors would be able to come in January.
Yeah, I'll double check with them. 'Cause
Okay.
Like I said, I got the draft now, so I have to go through that. It'll take me a week or so,
Okay,
get back to them, and they have to put it through their quality review, so it'll probably be a couple weeks after that, so.
okay.
They
So-
got an extra week.
What's that?
They got an extra week.
Yeah.
We will tentatively leave it there, but understanding that it's likely to move. So then, a review of grants and things we can push off for a little while. New growth numbers with the assessor, is that likely to happen in January? Could we have that happen?
We can certainly talk to them. I mean,
Okay.
The new growth numbers are out there, so.
Okay.
I mean, they presented numbers when they did the, the
With
tax
the CIP,
reconciliation.
right, yeah, okay. And then, revenue projections? That's what was on
Yeah,
there?
and, Yeah, when Tony wants to release the budget, I mean, it's all there, so we've already done the revenue projection, so I would assume when the BBC meets again, we did the first round of revenue projections back then, obviously we have to wait for the state now, there's, still some stuff up in the air.
Yeah, these revenue projections that we usually talk about are like, what are we projecting for our new growth? What are we projecting for local receipts? This stuff,
Yeah.
like the state numbers, obviously.
Because those don't
Wait
come out
until
till the
the
last
last week.
January,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And then, is there anything else you guys can think of for the January meeting?
I think that's plenty.
Okay.
It's pretty extensive.
Okay, is there anything else people want to add to any other meetings right now, or we can talk about this offline as well, so. All right?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, the heat is working tonight. All right, is there anything else that we want to discuss that I have not covered tonight on our agenda? Okay, so for action items and follow-up, I will be sending an email to the town manager's office to discuss, hold on, to request a review of the financial policies and, what was the second thing? I'll go back through, I'll find it.
Fire department staffing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the reserves,
Reserves, got it.
thank you.
Yeah, when to use reserves, yeah.
Mm-hmm, when to use reserves, okay. All right, I think that's it, and if you can just let me know about the auditor, that would be great. And our next, Mr. O'Neill does not have to stay for the next part of our meeting. Thank you for coming tonight, thank
I
you.
mean, he
for-
may find it fascinating, but I wouldn't blame him if he left.
We've heard it a couple times.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a discussion. Mr. Slater's going to lead, as a member of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, is going to lead a discussion of what they've been doing.
Yeah, okay.
That's my best explanation.
All right. See you, Jeff. Thank you. There have been road shows with most of the major boards. I think because of our scheduling, we're the last one that they've done. So if we could go to the PowerPoint, if we could, very quickly. This sort of just shows where we are. We've done a lot of preliminary work. We had a number of public interactions, a number of meetings, and we've developed a number of strategies, and it's like, which of these strategies makes sense to proceed with in the future? And really, where do we want to go from here? What do we want to put into the final report? Again, this is considered as Norwood 2035. What's Norwood going to look like in 10 years? So the next item, it just sort of shows, where we've been. We've had a number of road shows, a number of different sessions. We've developed public comments. We had a public meeting last Monday, I believe, trying to gather some input. It's always difficult to get people to come, unfortunately, as much as you advertise. There are always, a number of really good town meeting members and good citizens who show up at these and give their input. The more input we get, the better. So right now, as I said, we're looking at, trying to develop the goals for the study and to decide, which ones, which ones we want to consider, which ones we want to actually keep and put into the document. So, where are we? If we go to the next slide, again, we're looking at a number of different strategies. We looked at upwards of 179. Ones that were developed, from different sources, and we came down to a little bit more than 100 right now, although we can still add or subtract as we go along. But some interesting stuff. Does everybody on the committee agree with every one of them? No, but there's at least enough of a general consensus to keep us moving forward. So if we go to the next slide. The overall themes that we're looking at, housing is obviously a big thing, transportation, something I'm particularly interested in, the vibrant economy, business center, try to generate enough tax revenue, what we have to do to revitalize some of our town centers, both the Norwood Center as well as South Norwood, and again, not forgetting the Route 1 strip either. Cultural history of the town, what we like, what sort of makes us the town that we are. Green, issues, green thoughts, if any of those make any sense for us. And then just basic infrastructure. What do we think we need to do as a town, to protect our infrastructure, to protect the investments we've made. So, and again, this lists the initial number of strategies we had in each of those categories, which I think adds up to 179, I believe, but we're well below that number right now.
The thing I was asking you about, Alan, is it looks like there's 23 goals. That
Yeah.
was what I was
Okay.
looking for, just a list of those
Okay.
goals, not all the strategies.
Okay, I see.
I was wondering if they were, because on here, I was wondering if these were just abbreviated or if this is the complete goal.
These,
Like something like foster integrated planning and collaboration.
yeah.
That is just the only thing that in the goal, right? There's no.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much, yeah.
So was anything to do with the property that we just purchased or are in the process of purchasing? Is that in that number 5?
I think that was
Yeah, I think
actually,
that-
I think that was a strategy that was there, but I think it was deleted because it was already done.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it would be more likely in,
In this one?
probably both of those,
Yeah.
I think you'd see something related to that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at what Sarah Dixon sent us, the goal 5A was protect Norwood's natural resources and landscapes through conservation, stormwater management, and ecosystem restoration.
Yeah.
So I think that would fall under that
Yeah.
Yeah.
goal, but
Yeah.
as Alan said, that would be one of the strategies.
Yeah. Okay. So, again, I'll just go through this quickly. You know, what's a strategy? You know, I don't have to read it, but it's a choice. You know, it's a trade-off. Not everybody is going to agree with everything, but, you know, we have a good basic committee, you know, well represented, you know, and everybody contributes. So, and again, this is going to be something we present. It isn't something, when you submit a master plan, it's like you finish the master plan and tomorrow everything that's in the master plan is implemented. And most of these are recommendations that have to be accepted either through the planning board or through town meeting.
So it's kind of like a map, so that
Right.
when I spoke with Sarah this morning, she was saying, you know, you think about, we're prioritizing what's important, like what's a town value, what does the town want, so that as things come before town meeting, we have or come before
Yeah.
a planning board or the zoning board.
Yeah.
It doesn't meet
Yeah.
with what we said as a town through this comprehensive plan. Does it fit within that? And if it doesn't, then it's easier to say no to whatever the newest trend is. If
Yeah.
it doesn't fit within where we envision Norwood going, which is what I believe this is.
Yeah, and again, you know, there's going to be a lot of trade-offs, a lot of people who may not agree with everything. There'll be certain people who are very passionate about housing. That's great. But do you want housing at the risk of losing commercial, you know, valuable commercial space, as an example?
Or green space.
Or green space. You know, infrastructure is great, but how much do you want to pay for some of that kind of stuff too? So, if you go to the next slide, I've sort of talked about this a little bit, where our ideas come from, you know, from other plans, from some of our ideas, what are considered best practices. You know, and no specifics. So we had a lot of good public input also, by the way, you know, from the public that have shown up, they've given us some really good ideas, and a lot of the ideas that they come relate to things like, you know, better traffic and in green space, as an example. All right, so we're gonna ask you to rate these. You know, 1 is sort of like, are you serious? You really want to propose this? 2 is like, it's a, you know, good idea, but, you know, maybe with a few changes. And 3, it's like, yeah, this is a great idea. So, we're gonna rate each strategy. And we're gonna talk about them. I mean, again, I think really, when everything's said and done, really down to about 8, but I wanna go over that a little bit more with you. And as I said, this is an innovative process. You know, nothing right now is set in stone. You know, things can change. So, the list of strategies that was sent was done before we had our meeting the end of November, where we deleted a number of strategies because we sort of looked at them and either they were redundant or we just can't agree with them. And this didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, maybe in a nice idea in a different, you know, in a different situation, but for Norwood in this time, it just didn't make a lot of sense. So there's 8 of these. I'd like to talk about these 8. If there are other things in here that we deleted, but it's like, man, I really think this should be back in there, please tell me, and I'll make sure that they get done. So the ones for the FinCom that still there at this point, let's start with 1C4. Establish a municipal housing trust fund that pools local, state, and private dollars, excuse me, to finance construction and preservation projects complementing plan, utility, and transportation upgrades. Then there's a discussion of the strategy. Again, you know, we could look at it one of 3 ways: no, yes, but, or absolutely.
To me, that seems sort of like a number two, a middle of the road thing. It's like, it sounds interesting, like to hear more. I'm not quite sure how exactly pooling money works, or whether Norwood has enough economies of scale to make it worthwhile. But if it's just, an option that's out there, we might as well pursue it, and see if it makes any sense.
Okay, so it's something to pursue, but you want to see, want to see more detail. Is that
Exactly.
fair?
That's my thought.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I think, I tend to agree with Eric on that, but I think that, like, I want, when we say it's something to pursue, it's something like, I have more questions before I say we can't afford this,
Mhm.
but, like, I want to know, like, how much money would need to go in there for it to make a difference. Like,
Yeah.
I worry that we could spend a lot of time and discover that we've got $10,000 to throw at this problem, which isn't going to do a thing. And
Right.
so,
Maybe pursue is the wrong word.
yeah, I just,
Yeah.
like, I don't think I need to, I would say I want to definitely cross it off the list and we should never talk about it again. But
Okay.
I'm skeptical because of dollar amounts.
Instead of pursue, should I say investigate?
Investigate, yeah.
Investigate's an excellent word.
Because this
Gee,
is something,
considering I'm not an English major, thank you. I'm an engineer. We engineers are not good in English.
is this something, when they say private dollars to finance construction and preservation projects, would the CPC fall anywhere in here, or they can't give into I guess that's where I'm,
I think it's doubtful that the CPC,
okay.
I mean, we're talking about if they propose something like Vernon Street again, I don't know whether that would be covered or not. I don't know.
They might be one of the sources
Well,
of
that's
funding.
what I was
for
Yeah.
saying.
Right, yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vernon
Yeah.
Street.
Can I say that, again, as I said, investigate, but want to see more detail? How much money to this would make a difference?
Yeah, I think that's an important piece. Of
So can I assume this is like a maybe, the number 2? That fair?
Works for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next one is 3AB. Continue tax increment financing program and current adaptive reuse of vacant private or unused buildings through expedited approvals of modest tax relief. That's essentially, it's to continue the TIF program that we have.
Haven't we had a fair amount of success with that? mean, it
I
seems
would
like-
say that's a 3.
That's a
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
Right.
been a great way to get,
successful program.
Right, and I definitely like the idea of targeting vacant buildings and,
Mhm.
like, there's no advantage to vacant buildings.
or underused buildings.
Vacant or underused buildings, that are just sitting there, and some of them are old mills, and,
Or a hazard.
Yeah, I agree. So this is definitely a 3. Good, okay. 3B2. Let me just, 3A8, excuse me. 3B2, support business incubator and co-working spaces through zoning and tax incentives. For example, Norwood Center or the Norwood Space Center to provide affordable space, mentoring, and shared kitchens for startups.
I think I'd want more information on this. I mean, I like the idea, but if we're supporting them, is there any tie? When I see the word startup, if they start up here, is there any tie to the support having them remain in Norwood, similar to like the TIFs have like different benchmarks, right?
Yeah, okay,
I would
so-
wonder about like what type of,
Okay.
What
is
so
support?
support
What
is-
is support?
So support,
Support.
so support of anything that will tie them to Norwood.
well, but what is support? Like, is it?
I mean, is it money or is it cheerleading?
Well, I mean, it says support through zoning and tax incentives, but we're supporting the incubator, not the startups, right? So,
Mhm,
like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so potentially it could be zoning that, just makes it easier to have a co-working
Right.
space somewhere
Make it
that,
yeah,
um,
Allowable use.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, all right, I see.
okay.
But I agree that, like, if we, this is, So that zoning is one thing, but tax incentives for a private business, then like, what do we get on that? But that would go through the Economic Development Committee, right, and their recommendations.
Yeah, likely. I mean, I don't, it doesn't sound like well, whether it's a TIF or not, I'm not really sure. In terms of tax incentives, I mean, what kind of tax incentives do we have other than TIFs?
Right.
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 Yeah, it would have, so it would really have to be a TIF.
Could we say 3 for zoning and 2 for TIF?
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so zoning, yes to zoning.
Yes.
Yes.
TIF,
True.
a 2, okay. All right. Tax incentives. Okay. That makes sense. All right, anything further on that? Okay. 3B3. Roll out a Buy Norwood initiative featuring town procurement preference for local vendors, seasonal markets, and shop local campaigns.
So, town procurement preference, is that even legal?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean,
It is
you know,
by
'cause a lot of
America,
times,
federal funding, but.
a lot of times, you know, you're limited, you know, if you want to buy something, you have to use something that's on the state list.
Right, or you have to
Right.
put it out to bid.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's even legal. Now, supporting like the farmer's market is another thing, you know, that's something we've always done, it seems to. Presumably something we want to continue, so,
Okay, you know, that and, you know, some of the campaigns they've had for buy local, I think certainly we.
right, that the downtown organization does.
Yeah.
The Friends of Norwood Center.
Friends of North
Yeah.
Center,
Yeah.
that's what they're called. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
That's a
They
little
utilize
different.
NCM to do some promotions and things
Yeah.
like that.
So again,
Okay.
split the question, I think it's a 3 for that stuff, but it's a 1 for the town procurement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so seasonal markets and shop local. 3, procurement,
1.
1, I think that makes perfect sense. Good.
We don't need
Okay.
any lawsuits.
No.
Yeah, all right, and then something near and dear to my heart. The Stormwater Enterprise Fund.
What is that?
Yeah,
5, 8, 10.
5810.
Next page,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Implement a Stormwater Enterprise Fund and resulting public fund is recommended by the Stormwater Utility Committee.
It actually says we're implement the fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, fee, yeah.
I mean, personally, I think we need to do something about stormwater. Exactly how we do it, I'd want to see the details. So it's kind of like a 3-2, you know.
I mean, I think you could say, could I say, support in general, but want details on fee?
Yeah.
The
I
financing, yeah.
Yeah, I also have a hard time with this one because it's saying like, you know, the resulting public fund, but town meeting very clearly voted down the idea of creating the fund.
Mhm.
And so for us to like recommend something that is directly opposed to what town meeting suggested, it's an awkward position to be in. Not what town meeting suggested, what town meeting clearly voted.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the financing part is a 2. But the concept, do we need to do something about stormwater, that's a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, again, I hate to go.
Have you had answers like this?
No, I mean, usually it's, you know, pretty clear, it's a this, or this. I mean, I get the
This is the
feeling.
problem with the In the Weeds committee that we are.
Yes.
We have to
Yeah,
nitpick.
I know that. I mean, again, I think, I'm gonna say that, I mean, you want me to say, you know, no, or do you want me to say
Well,
maybe?
town meeting voted no on the fee, right? No matter
Yeah.
what we
They
thought.
voted no
on
on the
the
fund. The
Sorry.
fund,
The fund, which
Right.
in turn leads to a fee.
presumably.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, the concept of fixing stormwater problems, all for
Yes.
it.
Well, yeah.
The details of how do you finance that
Yeah.
needs more discussion. So that's why it's a 3 and a 2.
And I'm not sure, well, I'm not really sure how that fits in with the comprehensive plan, like, the details of how we fund this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plan is more
Well,
doing
this is
something
the
about the
goal of
problem.
protecting Norwood's natural resources and landscapes, is that what this
Yeah,
is
it's, I
under?
think that was that a number 5, I
Yeah.
think?
Which one is
Yeah, that was the green.
Yep,
I'm not saying that dealing with stormwater shouldn't be part of the plan, I just feel like the details about how we finance that, I don't know that needs to.
I mean, that's why we charge people for water. You know,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
supposed to be
unfortunately-
coming out of that
Yeah.
part of our,
Yeah, I mean, I
Infrastructure.
don't want to get into the debate again, but unfortunately, whatever we do is going to cost money.
Absolutely.
The problem is this the time to ask for something, given everything else which is
Right.
on the horizon,
Right.
But we're talking about next 10 years, talking about
Yeah.
a decade. So
Yeah.
we want to do something about stormwater in the next decade.
Mhm.
Check, we're all in favor of that. How we do that, and exactly when we do that, that's TBD.
All right, so,
but that's what Sarah said, like, just
Yeah.
think about, like, it is, yes, we wanna do something about stormwater. I think what we're struggling with is implement a stormwater enterprise
Right.
fee, and I understand that it's gonna cost money,
mhm.
but
Yeah.
I mean,
Need
you
to
want me,
split it.
yeah, I mean, you want me to, again, I mean, Sarah will say, will look at me and say, what are you guys in the FinCom doing? But, I mean, say in
If they
general.
wanted it done a specific way, they needed to come and make us do it that way.
Yeah, so you want me, again, you want me to split it,
Split
we
it,
think
yeah.
it's a great
Yeah.
idea, but, one, on the funding, simply because of what
Funding.
town, because of
Yeah.
the view
Well, I was
at
going
the
to say
time of town
a
meeting.
2 on the financing, just
Yeah.
because the details
A 2?
need to be worked out. But
Yeah.
it's not that we don't want to pay for it, we need to
we
figure
know
out
we
how to.
have to pay for it, it's just how are we gonna
How-
pay for it
and
when
when?
town
How are we
meeting
gonna do
voted
it
no
and
on
get-
establishing a fund,
And get town
right?
meeting support.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. Let's go to the next one.
You don't really mean that, cause you don't like how we're doing this.
Well, I do. I mean, I find this interesting. I mean, because that we're putting actually some thought into this.
We're a thoughtful
We'll see what the
group.
rest of the committee thinks. They may say, really, but, hey, see
and what
what-
we're thinking is how are we gonna pay for it? You know,
I mean, that's-
it's-
we
it's
jump right
on
there.
every single one of
That's the
them.
problem with us.
Again, I think we have to look, because a lot of times you look at this is a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But a lot of times you don't think about the funding part of it because this is a great idea to do.
yeah.
So, but as you say, we tend to get into the
Weeds.
detail.
Mhm.
All right, next one, 5D6. Implement a town-wide composting plan and expand curbside food scrap collection with zero waste education campaigns.
I think we've tried this. I think this is a 1 for me because I don't think a lot of people participated if they want to. I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of the composting.
Well, we did a
But-
pilot program to expand the base of people participating,
Right.
and I think some people do it. I think that program is now done, and
Correct.
people who
People
want it
aren't
to
paying
continue,
for it.
people are now paying for it, and I see the little barrels around, and so
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
are doing it. So it's not really a town service anymore; it's a private thing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a 2. I in theory think it's a great idea. As I grew up, my family was composting. This is a great thing,
Mhm.
but it's all about what are the finances of it, and I don't know how much does it save on trash and how much does it cost and
When I've asked about that, because I participated, there weren't significant changes in the,
No, that's maybe because of
because
the
of lack of, people participated, but you have to get a high number of participation to truly
Right.
make the difference.
Yeah, because we pay in trash by the ton.
Right.
So if a significant number of people participate in this, you could have some savings. But people have to make an effort to do this.
Now
It's
you've got
just-
a third barrel.
Yeah, it's
third
easy,
barrel.
I mean, it's easier just to, put it down the garbage disposal, just throw it in
Yeah.
the trash.
yeah.
Right.
we
So I should say this is a 2. Fair statement?
Fair state.
barrels that you can get down.
Yeah, you can get the
Alright.
barrels and do
We've got
it.
a
Yeah, I
couple
mean,
of those
it's work.
And
Yeah.
It's work.
composting heap someplace else.
Right.
All right.
6A4. Go back to the previous.
What one are we at?
Let's see.
I highlighted the ones you sent me, so it's 6A4.
6A, there we go.
Yeah.
Reconfigure offices and create shared meeting rooms to ease space issues in town hall. Not sure that
So,
this makes a lot of sense, considering we're looking at a master plan down the road, which is another potential strategy, for town
exactly.
hall.
My response to this, to 6A4 is say C6C4, because that's where it
Yeah.
belongs. It's a subset of that.
Yeah,
See,
okay, I'll just say no. That fair?
No, but with the
But
asterisk.
put in the
that-
note that says, we
Yeah.
feel it's covered under 6C4.
Exactly.
Is that
Yeah, I
correct?
mean,
Yes.
it's not like, I think I want to say like nobody should have any ideas about how to reuse, like to make better use of town hall.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really needs to be in this plan because
Mhm.
it's, what does town look like in 10 years?
Yeah,
Hopefully we've,
yeah. Hopefully we'll have a new rehab town hall by then.
yeah.
All right, and last one.
Nope, can we do 6C4, is that the one?
6C4, yes, I'd say that's, the last one is.
Oh, okay.
6C4, essentially do a townwide master plan, which includes, renovations of town hall, school, civic center, the library, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I would like to see, because I've said it 1,000 times, let's not just do renovations, let's look at them and decide what buildings we need. Like, that's, to me,
Yep.
I
Can I
don't.
vote 5 on this?
Yeah,
We've been asking for it.
On a
so-
scale of 1
Yeah.
to 3, I vote 5.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Let's have a.
But I'm
maybe
not sure,
reword
but
it,
not
yeah.
just renovations, like, not just assume we're gonna do renovations, evaluate
Usage.
building usage of all
Oh,
municipal
yes,
buildings. Like,
yes.
this doesn't do it for me quite, I mean, yes,
Okay,
I
I'd
understand
say-
why you wanna vote 5, but I wanna evaluate all municipal buildings and uses.
Yes.
And that means all municipal, not just municipal buildings, all property and land the town of Norwood owns.
Yes.
stay away from my green space.
Yeah,
Well,
but,
no, but you need to know what you
Yeah,
you
no, I'm
own.
getting
I'm
that,
not
but-
saying
Alright.
I'm not against green space. It's you need to be able to. We need to have a full picture of everything we own, and then make educated decisions on how best to. Because something that isn't green space now could become green space,
Alright.
if
Yeah.
we.
Could I say,
I don't know what number.
I mean, 10
that
years
is.
Can I
from
say-
now, we don't know if broadband needs that building over there. We don't know if but I
Right.
guess the print shop's leaving. We don't know what's happening with the restaurant. Over a 10-year span, you're right. You don't know what the building's gonna be needed for.
could I say that, let me say again, please, if this isn't what you're thinking of, could I say 3, but as Sarah said, we note that this isn't, and we'll make it clear that we think this shouldn't be just for renovations, but to evaluate, all buildings, needs and uses.
Yeah. And buildings and property.
Property.
Yeah, building, property, et cetera, not just renovations, but do we need them?
Or what do we need them
Or-
for?
Or how
should
do
we
we
shuffle
use them?
uses
How do
around?
we use them? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, that's the thing.
So there, to.
Consider use of all buildings and property. What you saying?
I was just saying, we have property that we're renting out.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We own some valuable property,
Yeah. Okay,
and we rent out, and are we getting market rate for it, or, all
Mhm.
that
Right,
stuff.
right. Like,
okay, all right.
What I meant.
Well, that completes the ones that weren't grayed out. If there are any others in here that is like, yeah, we didn't include it, but boy, I really think that's a great idea, then, I can see if we can include it.
Hold
down
on, give me a
the road.
minute, because I wrote notes next to some of them, so let me
Okay.
see. No, I think we're good. Actually, most of the ones I wrote next to are the ones you guys.
Okay, all right.
Got rid of anyhow, right?
Good.
No,
All right.
not got rid of, actually. The ones that I had comments on were the ones we
All right,
discussed.
good.
Oh, okay.
Then,
That's
that being said, I will write something up and send it to our planning director, and
Okay.
we'll go into the discussion we have on the comprehensive plan. So thank you very much. I think this was very good. I
Thank
think
you for
that's some
doing
good
it, Alan. I
comments.
appreciate it.
And,
Do you know when your next meeting
I was
is?
just gonna ask.
Yeah, the end of, it's usually the fourth Monday of the month.
Are they always public meetings then, the fourth Mondays?
They are public, public has shown up.
Okay.
So it's usually at the senior center.
Okay.
How long do you think it will take till we can follow these plans?
Well, again, if they've got to, come up with the report, which will likely be,
That was March, right?
summer,
So-
maybe, summer, fall. And then, it'll have to be presented to the planning board. And the planning board essentially is responsible for, the review.
Yeah,
They have to adopt many of the policies, or, if it's zoning as an example, they're the ones who have to, present the article, related to a zoning change. Some of these would have to be accepted by town meeting. Many of them would have to be
Any
accepted by
zoning
town
changes have to
meeting.
be right.
Excuse me?
Any zoning changes have to be
Absolutely,
right.
yeah.
So
So
zoning
just
changes will
because-
come out of this come out of this plan, or is this just a
Potentially.
plan?
Potentially. Potentially, I mean, there will
Okay.
be a recommendation that, your recommendation to just change, zoning X to zoning Y, but just because it's in the report doesn't mean that it's implemented. It has to be approved by planning board and ultimately by town meeting.
And it could be a proposal for the 2032 town meeting or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, is there anything else that needs to be covered tonight? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are done. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.